Yo, what is going on, guys? Spaghetti Rip here, and today I'm going to be bringing you an anti-JACK-7 tutorial. Now, sorry for not uploading for such a long time. I'm always so busy doing stuff, right? Had to take some exams recently, and if you guys didn't know, I've been chosen to be one of the European commentators for the Tekken World Tour. So you're going to be seeing me. I've already commentated in Birmingham for Versus Fighting, and you're going to be seeing me soon in Lyon, Barcelona and Paris. Also doing the online Tekken World Tour tournament commentary as well. So pretty good, man, pretty good. If you want to watch that, check out twitch.tv/Tekken, and all of the tournaments hopefully will be on that. So let's just get straight into it, man. JACK-7. Now, why have I decided to do a JACK-7 tutorial, anti-JACK-7 tutorial over other characters? Well, if you guys have been watching the Tekken World Tour, you would have noticed that, you know, Jack has been catching a lot of bodies. Jack is a character which has done really well in tournament. You know, you got players like Saint, you got players like Naroma, and other players that are just doing really well with Jack. People say that he's low on the tier list, so you know, people kind of underestimate him. But we're gonna go through the character today, and you're gonna find out that actually the tier list doesn't really matter when it comes to tournaments, and you know, short sets. So even if you're playing on ranked, you know, if you don't approach this character properly, you're going to have a lot of trouble. You need to know, you need to have a direction. You know, you need to know exactly, okay, what am I gonna do versus the character? You can't play versus Jack like it's a normal Tekken character. So I've separated this video into 5 different parts. So number 1, I have a Jack strategy overview. Number 2, I have sidestepping left. Number 3, the 2 jab. Number 4, the wall game. And to close it off, number 5, close range and pressure. Now, before I begin, the first 3 points, a lot of people will probably know. You know, the first 2 or 3 points, people will kind of know. But after that, it gets a bit more technical. And I think those last 2 points are going to be where people start to see a lot of improvement if they haven't already incorporated it into their game. The last 2 points are going to be really vital. But for those of you who don't really know much about Jack, the first 3 points are going to be very, very important for you. So number 1, Jack strategy overview. So what is Jack about? What makes this character so good, and what is he looking to do when he's playing? So Jack is a character which excels really well in a sort of medium range. I say that because he's got really good range with his 2 jab. It's a really good keep out tool, a really good poke. It's 11 frames, and it's really plus on hit. You have moves like forward 1, this elbow move which is safe on block and, you know, gives you guaranteed damage on hit as well. You got his down forward 2 whiff punishment, which has insane range, and it's you know, it's his main go-to launcher. You got debugger, which is a nice chunky low with good range, which is also homing. And then you got all of his nice low pokes. Some of the best low pokes in the game. You got down back 1, you got full clutch down back 1, and you know, down 4, which is a safe low with really good range as well. So Jack is a really good character to poke you out, and if you don't know how to deal with these pokes, you can really get overwhelmed. Not only that, but he has really good throws as well. So he's got good command throws for both 2 and 1. So you're going to have to keep your throw breaking on point. So all of these things that Jack has, all of these tools, make him a very dangerous character in tournament. So you can't approach him, like I said before, like a normal Tekken character. So let's move on to number 2, sidestepping left. Now, sidestepping to your left is seen to be Jack's weak side. It's been considered his weak side for a while now. The reason why that is because it avoids his down back 1 poke, and it avoids down forward 1, and even forward 1, the elbow, if you time your stepping correctly. So we're going to try and show you here. So as you see, stepping left does avoid some really key moves from Jack. The problem is, however, and I need to address this problem, I stepped left because I knew that the move was coming, right? So if you see someone and you know his timing, you know when he's going to throw out a move, stepping left is a good idea. But if the Jack player actually decides he wants to switch his timing up a little bit, it's going to be harder to step against. That's the issue. That's the reason why Saint has been so good in neutralizing people's stepping. You watch him play versus JDCR. JDCR obviously knows that stepping left is a good way to go versus Jack, and he does it in game. But Saint is able to neutralize it by dashing and kind of mixing up his timing. So if a Jack player decided that he wanted to, let's say, not do forward one straight away and just kind of mix up the timing. So let's say he did jab, then he waited a bit and then did it, then I would be messed up. You know, I'd be forced to block it, you know. Stepping left and there, I'd be dead. Because you just kind of waited a little bit and waited for me to step. So that's the issue, right? But like I said, I don't want to make it too complicated. Stepping left is the way to go versus Jack. One thing you do need to watch out for, however, is the down forward 2. Now, it is risky. It is minus 14, which means that, you know, some characters can even get a launch on it. You look at Lars, he can get a launch. Law can, Brian can, for example, Alisa can. But this move does track to the left. So let me see if I try to step left, what happens. That's what happens if I try to step left. Now, obviously, you could sidestep and block, but you know, it's still one of those things. It can be hard to do. Just watch out for that. Keep that in your mind that move will track left. If the Jack player is clever and he sees you moving that way a lot, he's probably going to use down forward 2. So let's move on. Number 3. We are going through this quite quickly. Good. So number 3, the 2 jab. Now the 2 jab is one of Jack's best tools. Why? Because it's hella plus on hit. And it's safe. It's +1 on block, which is buffed from neutral. It used to be 0 on block, and that's very important. I'm going to tell you why. But yeah, it's just an all-round really great move. Now, a lot of people use Jack, and they use that move a lot, and they sort of go into moves after it. People respect the 2 jab as if it's like really plus on block. It's not. People give it too much respect, I feel. For example, a Jack can do 2 into down back 1. You know, that's a very common setup we see. Someone will block a 2 jab and then they'll just be standing and they'll get hit by down back 1. Now, what's interesting about that is that you can actually jab them out of that. It's very interesting. People love to do that. That's a very common setup. So they'll do 2 jab and then down back 1. 2 jab, down back 1. Now, if I block the 2 jab, I can jab. It will interrupt most things that a Jack player will try to do afterwards, right? Let's see what happens if they do 2-2. So if I do 2 into 2, I can jab and it will trade with his second jab. Now that's interesting because it never used to do that. In Tekken Tag 2, Jack's 2 jab was neutral, so a jab would be both down back 1 and his second 2 jab. But a jab is still a good thing to use. I think it's an interesting tool against the 2 jab. The other thing you could do is sidestep left and block. So just like this, just to be able to deal with the threat of the down back 1 afterwards. But you know, it's like that's just movement thing. But I think you know, using your jab is very important. Try to do that. Try to use your jab versus Jack's 2 jab and see where it gets you. Now, number 4, Jack's wall game. Now, Jack's wall game, as many of you may know, is one of the scariest things about Jack in this game. So if you look at his down back, full crouch down back 1, that move there, that's the reason why Jack is so scary at the wall. Now that full crouch down back 1 is very, very plus on normal hits, which means that once you get hit by that at the wall, you're in a mix-up situation. You can't step. You know, well, you can, but you should. Yes, it's going to be dangerous to step. And you know, you're going to have to guess between either low or mid. So he could go for another low, for example, boom, boom, and he could, you know, maybe go for a mid after that. The problem with that is that he has moves from crouching, which wall splat. This one here, for while standing 3-2, is extremely hit confirmable, and its natural combo is going to do a bunch of damage to you at the wall. And he's also got this one here too, boom boom, into full combo. It's a lot of damage, man. So this is why it's a dangerous situation. What I can tell you is it's a mix-up situation. So you want to be, the only thing you can do is try to low parry the second down back 1 if it comes. That's the best thing you can do. However, let's say a Jack player decides he wants to start his offense at the wall with a down back 1, just a normal one. That's only +2, I think. It's not as plus as a full crouch down back 1, which means that you are in a position to be able to step. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of doing that too. I'm kind of, you know, I don't like to go straight in with a full crouch down back 1. I do like to use down back 1 straight away from there. People respect it though, so that's probably the reason, but you shouldn't. So if you see someone go for that, then you can actually get out. You can get out the way. So let's see. Boom. So yeah, down back 1, of course, not as plus, but Jack's wall game is extremely scary. He has throws that can wall splat you. He has just the moves that can wall splat you as well. So, you know, be careful of that. If he does go for the wall splat, remember it's both of them are mid-high. So oosh, you can duck both of those hits. The second hit is duckable. So yeah, just keep your eye out. Be reactive. Understand where you stand frame-wise, and you should be okay. It's still dangerous, but make sure you get yourself out of the wall. You look at someone like Jack. If he, like, let's say you're Jack, you know, you have options to get out the wall. If you use your 1 throw, it will put your opponent to the wall. Even if they break it, Jack will be able to get himself out of the wall. So look at if your character has a throw which can put them away from the wall. You always want to be trying to get your back away from the wall. You don't want to be at the wall or near the wall when you're playing against a Jack player. Now number 5, close range and pressure. This is probably the most important thing for you guys to know. Outside of the 2 jab thing that we talked about not really respecting the 2 jab too much, you know, trying to jab to interrupt stuff that they might do. This is probably the most important thing, because this is what's going to dictate your direction. It's going to give you a direction to go in when playing against a Jack player. So we've already talked about how Jack excels at medium range because of his 2 jab, because of his forward 1, because of all of his pokes, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means that try to stay at a closer range. If you stay at a closer range and you use your 1 jab, which is a normal jab is +1, so doing another one is uninterruptible, especially for Jack. When Jack hasn't, you know, Jacks can't do their jab because it's even slower than a normal jab. So if you keep on doing jab pressure, because he's such a big character as well, you're not going to see him step much. So the only thing he can do is try to crush it with a down 4, or, you know, try to duck. It's so crazy. If you guys go into ranked or go into whatever, if you're playing against a Jack player, try this. Get into their face, do jabs. The only panic move Jack has is forward 2, the palm, the stop sign. Now that move is -12, and you know the move can be punished very easily by a lot of characters. So if you're putting on a lot of pressure, that's the only move he has to try to get you out of his face, because that's what Jacks want. Jacks want you to get out of their face. So one of the moves that, you know, if your character has, like a running 3, which is plus, like Lars has a really nice one, you know, then this can put a lot of pressure onto a Jack player as well. Push them close to the wall, plus frames, you can go for mix-ups. It's so good. That's a really good way to get in. Of course, there's the risk of being jabbed out of it and floated, but you just need to time your running 3s properly. Don't be random. You know, try to play solid. But yeah, look, there's so much mileage you can get out of in just a normal jab, and not many people know this. So what you want to do is try to get into a close range. Just try to outpoke a Jack player. You know, down back 1 doesn't high crush. No, sorry, yeah, down back 1 doesn't high crush like we talked about. So, you know, the jab that he won't be able to down back 1 you. It's insane how effective a normal jab is. So you want to try to just put on pressure at a close range. Use your jab, you know, sidestep left and block, you know, just to deal with anything, and it's gonna piss them off. I use Jack, and you know, I've played against people who are extremely good versus Jack, and that's what they do, and it's extremely hard to play against. If you don't believe me about this, just go back and watch Saint play against Noroma in Korea. They played in tournament, and they played first. Saint put him into losers, and the reason why is because they had a Jack mirror. Now after that, Noroma thought, okay, what should I do? He said, I used a character which I struggle against as a Jack player, and that character was Feng. Now, many Asian players, the Korean, Japanese, they consider Feng to be one of the best, one of the best characters in that close range game because of his pokes. So he used Feng and managed to beat Saint on the same day. So if you don't believe me, you know, take it from them. They know how to play against Jack, and the way to do it is to put on pressure and to, you know, just get in his face and make sure he hasn't got the space to utilize his moveset, his forward one, his debugger, his, you know, down back ones. He needs a bit of space. He needs a little bit of space around here to, you know, to use his moves effectively. So guys, I hope these tips have been helpful for you. Let me know, of course, if they worked for you. Go into ranked, go into lobby matches, whatever. Play against Jack players. It's a very hard matchup to deal with. Of course, even with the knowledge you have, you know, that's why Saint has been winning tournaments. Naroma, other people, Anakin, of course, shout outs. Been doing mad things there. All of these guys are really strong players, and you know, Jack can be a very deadly weapon in good hands, right? But hopefully this has been helpful for you to know what direction you want to go in versus a Jack player. I feel sort of confident in the matchup. I play against Jack players often, and this is how I approach the match, and I feel comfortable. I don't feel scared or, you know, upset when I play against a Jack player. So thank you guys for watching. I've been Spaghetti Rip, and hopefully till next time, peace. And of course, there's always going to be one thing at the end, one tip, which will help you in the matchup. You guys should know this by now. So I wanted to talk about Jack's range art. So let's show you the range art. Boom. Look at the range that's created between Lars and Jack after Jack's rage art, right? So a lot of people's normal launchers, normal go-to launchers, will not reach. So, for example, Lars' Arc Blast completely whiffs. Even longer range hop kicks like Katarina's. This happened to me in tournament. I was using Katarina in tournament against a Jack player, and I blocked the rage art, and I baited it out. I tried to hop kick it, and it completely whiffed. So what this means is you need to use a launcher which is longer range, and you know, Jack's rage art is very minus on block. So if you look at Lars, he can use up forward 4, boom, and you get a full combo. Very nice. Oosh. So just make sure that you have a longer range launcher. Some characters might be able to, run up and launch, because it is extremely minus. You know, people's first reaction to blocking a rage art is just launch. You know, and that's the reason why I missed my punish on it in tournament, and other people have. I've seen other people miss it as well. So just make sure to keep that in your mind. This is a very Jack specific thing. Make sure that you know what your move is going to be in order to punish Jack's rage arts. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this was helpful. Leave any comments asking any questions, or you know, any advice you have for me for my videos in the future, anything you want to see. I've been Spaghetti Rip, and until next time, peace.